legends strap in. Round 6 of the AFL season delivered an absolute rollercoaster. We had blowouts, we had surprises, we had fight backs, and we had one of the best Easter Monday games you will see. Whether your side flew high or flopped low, we've got you covered. I'm breaking down every game with tactical insights, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. So let's run that intro, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be back after the intro. So the first game, the Lions versus the Pies. Collingwood didn't just beat the reigning premiers, they brought them. This wasn't just a scrappy, scrape-through win. This was a clinical dismantling from the opening bounce. The Pies swarmed the Gabba like a pack of locusts, choking up Brisbane's famed corridor game and turning every turnover into what felt like scoreboard gold. The 52-point margin, I think it flattered the Lions. It was a heavyweight bout between two top teams who were incidentally the last two premiers, but only one team fought at the end and was swinging, and it wasn't the home side. The corridor was clogged. Lions looked grounded. Collingwood didn't just defend, they dissected that corridor, completely shutting down any corridor movement, forcing them the Lions wide and having no flow. In a home game, it was a real heist. Only 37 inside 50s for the Lions. A solid performance. And the Pies were strong at the coalface. They won the clearance battle. It was 11-4 in the first term alone. From the get-go, the Lions looked on the back foot. And the forward efficiency and pressure, McQuarrie, Hoskin and Elliott, weren't just kicking goals. They were applying manic forward half pressure, really stifling any run and stun from the back half. Bobby Hill's tackle on Zorko kind of really summed it up. Collingwood, there was some key performers. Nick Dacos, Dan McStay presented incredibly well. Sidebottom and Pendlebury, Jamie Elliott again. Lockie Neal for the Lions, he tried his heart out. And Ashcroft and McInerney did show class at times, but just couldn't get into the game. Rayner and Hipwood did get goals, but their forward connection looked patchy for much of the night. McStay's early dominance set the toll. 2 big goals early doors. The controversial 50-metre penalty will be a talking point. Josh Dacos has a lot of that Gabba spewing. Bobby Hill's tackle on Zorko equating into a turnover goal. Probably the moment of the night. Takeaways from this game: 5 wins on the bounce for the Pies, beating the reigning premiers, shut down one of the best ball movement sides, and they've still got Schultz and Houston to return. The Pies are back into premiership conversation if they ever left. They were structured and solid all night. Lions, it's a corridor lockdown and no second half surge this time. I think it's just a blip on the back of a 5-day break. Either way, they were flat and they got punished. I think they'll be fine. Game 2, Carlton versus North. Good Friday, great Friday for the Blues fans. The Blues didn't just win, they obliterated North Melbourne at the Marvel Stadium. It was a massacre. The highest score of the season for the Blues, delivering an 82-point lesson in pressure, polish and application. 12 individual goal kickers, a midfield clinic, a forward half functioning smoother than a pub tap on a Friday afternoon. In contrast, North were exposed for effort, structure and lack of application. Again, they have copped 100 points 5 games this year. The tactical insights from this game are obvious. The midfield monstering from the Blues. Centre clearance dominance was clear. Hewitt and Chera controlled the game, combined for 22. Cripps being able to fly forward provided an extra scoring threat. The inside 50 efficiency, they weren't just going forward, they were going with purpose for the first time, probably this year, I would say. They absolutely looked good. Obviously under no pressure, but the Blues creating 33 scoring shots from 61 entries. That is elite. And the forward pressure, White, Durden, Motlop, all buzzing with Williams around Kerner. Functional chaos inside 50. That is the press that Voss likes. It's hard to exit against. Can the Blues do that 4 quarters against top sides? The key performers of this game were obvious. George Hewitt, he was immense. He won the medal. Was an absolute demolition job. Probably one of the most informed players. Zach Williams took goals and got them quickly as well. Every time you felt like the metronome was swinging the other way, He got it done. Charlie Curnow was very imposing, looked a very good sort, led well. Will White, Jesse Motlop were really strong, point of difference. And Adam Chera just understated, glided across the park. For North Melbourne, George Wardlaw, he was probably North's big shining light here. Paul Curtis, as always, is the metronome for them, leads well. And LDU and Luke Parker kind of exposed at times. They lacked support, but they were game at times. The key moments of this game was obviously the third quarter, Carlton 6-1, crushing any hopes of a North fight back. The final quarter was kind of a carnival for the Blues. Everyone joined in, 9 final quarter goals. And Cripps snap. It was a chef's kiss, wasn't it? It was a great goal on the left. It lifted the tone for the day. For the Blues, the takeaway system does click. Pressure and spread, albeit against West Coast and North. Forward line has definitely got the confidence. Hewitt is in career best form, and suddenly the small forwards are starting to show something. This was what the Blues really did promise going into the season. We can't forget about the 4 games they've lost, but they need to keep this version of them moving forward. This can't just be the outlier for 2 games. North Melbourne, another defensive disaster class, lack of midfield support, low pressure after half-time, and serious skill errors and fatigue and disconnect. They are in development mode when they shouldn't be. Some nice moments, but once that damn wall breaks, it absolutely floods. Game 3, the Eagles versus the Bombers. If you check the ladder, you would think this was going to be a walk in the park. We did talk about it. They were my lock of the week, the Bombers, but I did say it was the most Bombers thing if they lost this, and this was a bare-knuckle fight. It really was. West Coast came out firing like it was their premiership year. They ambushed the flat Essendon side, leading by just under 30 by the second term. And for a while, it looked like the great escape was on. But first game back for Peter Wright, 6-goal haul. Bombers were a class above in the second half, getting the chocolates. Tactical insight, rope-a-dope. The absolute second to everything early they were, the Bombers. Then the second half, the Bombers looked better. Once the midfield clicked, Martin Merritt, they took the territory game over and absolutely destroyed the Eagles. Eagles, though, best first half of the year. Their forward half efficiency actually looked good to go with their fast ball movement. They won a lot of ball. They played direct footy. And once the tail started to wag, they looked good. Fourth quarter wobble, though, both sides played incredibly nervy footy late. The Dons just edged it, but it came at an expense. Sam Draper missing the rest of the season, a massive blow. Keen men for both sides. Peter Wright, he was a massive target throughout. Nick Martin looked back to his best. Zach Merritt continued his great early part of the game. And Jake Waterman, 4 first quarter goals. He looks back to his best. McGovern coming back. He was at his intercepting best. Elijah Hewitt showed signs. And Jaden Hunt often running that thankless task as the outlet ball. This was the Eagles' best game. Key moments, definitely Peter Wright. He was the spark when the Essendon team needed it. And Archie Perkins, his 2 goals late in the third, got them back into the game. And that was probably the most pivotal moment of the match. Draper going down is huge. McGovern, though, his return really shows them up. Was a constant spoil, dominant all night. For Essendon, the takeaways, 3 wins in a row. Fought back from 30 points down. Peter Wright, someone to work off. The Draper injury, though, massive concerns. And the starting sluggish. They can't keep doing this. It was a gritty win, not pretty, but it was very much needed. If they dropped this, it was disaster. For Eagles, probably their best 4-quarter performance all year. Waterman, Hewitt and McGovern were outstanding. Showed fight and structure finally. Still winless and couldn't handle that scoreboard pressure late. But easily their best performance of the year. They might have lost, but this was a massive step forward for the Eagles. Game 4, Demons versus Dockers. And this was another game we talked about that. If the Dockers go to Dockers, they could lose this game. And this was the Cozzy Pickett show. He rolled into town, heavily linked with Fremantle. Their first win of 2025 and a very hard-fought win it was. Pickett was absolutely rocking, snagging galore, an absolute masterclass as linking up with the midfield. And celebrations that probably will go viral. Adding the backline, who was really solid. Petty as well was clunking marks. Viney was very, very strong this game. And Gorn looked like he was back to his best. The tactical insight, pressure and outnumber Melbourne. When it does work, see Carlton. It's very hard to play against. They outnumber teams at the contest. They keep it close. They keep it hard, and then they can spread. Viney, I thought, was an absolute masterclass versus Sarong. Ball movement as well. This second phase of the Demons' game plan, their ability to exit congestion was on show. Thought Bowie and Rivers were really integral in this game. And Dockers, they're just this disorganisation at times. Their best to their worst is horrific. Amiss and Bolton were brilliant at times, but their ability to get the ball inside the mixer to Josh Tracy was found in wanting. Pickett, obviously one of the best players on the ground. He took a hanger, cheeky peace sign as well after the goal. Big goal. Max Gorn, 28 touches. He was dominant. Jack Viney and Bowie providing support. And Petty, I was very impressed with him. He was a nice player to work off. Bolton, Brayshaw and Young all looking good at times, and a miss. Quiet for 3 quarters, but came into it. Definitely need more output from these guys. The key moments, Pickett's goal, one-on-one, outruns his man. Great goal. Petty's target work, it allows them to work off him. And Harvey Langford thought his goal was very important as well. It really was a calming influence, and he was understated. Takeaways, Pickett's in the superstar mode when he wants to be. Gorn is still one of the best ruckmen in the competition. The forward line looks really solid as well, Melbourne, when it goes well. But they did nearly blow their lead late, so they definitely need to have that confidence factor. Are the D's back? I'm not too sure, but the blueprint, contested, layered and pressure with this second adaptation of more exciting movement will hold them in good stead. Fremantle, they were second best for most of the day, but they did keep pushing. Brayshaw and Bolton are a class apart, but again, sloppy defensive to midfield. Feel like O'Meara, when he went down, that looks a bit desperate. And their mid-forward connection is either hot or cold. Not a disaster, but a reality check for them. You can't keep giving up these leads and leaving it late. Then we went to Adelaide versus GWS, and, you know, I said that they'd keep them below 60. They did. You know, it's a slog when the first half has more groans than cheers, but in true Crows fashion at home, they were grinding it out. It wasn't pretty, but it was strong, honest footy, and they will go quite far, Adelaide, in this game, because, you know, now Nick Murray's back, and I think he's integral to everything Adelaide do. Back to basics footy, it was blustery, greasy conditions, and Adelaide did the old mantra, keep it simple, stupid. Play the territory game, lock it in, cause chaos, and restrict the ball movement, and that is the mantra to beat GWS. GWS overused the football, all racking up touches their midfield, Green, Ash and Whitfield, but no one doing anything with it. They don't have structure that rewards ball winners, in my opinion. They get a lot of touches, and if it isn't coming off early, it's very exposed. I thought Murphy and Big Max, they were intercepting and rebounding everything, really solid, and Michelani went forward and kicked a goal. His performance alongside their usual stars, I thought, was absolutely beautiful. Players to watch from this game. Neil Bullen, definitely the signing of the season. He was strong. Matt Crouch loves a wet weather war. His maturity really showed in this. Jordan Dawson leading from the front again. Tex Walker early and a constant threat. GWS, Lockie Whitfield was strong. So was Tom Green. Didn't really get anything again. And Lockie Ash and Finn Callaghan didn't really feed on the ball that Tom Green and Whitfield were running. It felt like numbers for numbers' sake. Max Milani, he was good. His first goal, 45-metre beauty, and he was very strong down the back. Neil Bullen turned the contest at times. He was so strong as the link-up in the midfield with No coming there. And Fogarty just does what he does, doesn't he? He was isolated in the game, but this guy is a physical presence. Adelaide, 4-2, they're rolling, played smart footy in tricky conditions. Dawson is definitely in all-Australian form. Hopefully, Fogarty is fine. They do need to convert, though, I think, at times, but defensively, they look better. Gritty, grimy, and very valuable. I think they're really balanced when Murphy's there. I think that's Murray's there. That's a really, really important thing. GWS, again, they win lots of footy, and when it's played on their terms, they look incredibly good. But sloppy by foot, and with no Jesse Hogan, there was zero connection. Paper stats don't win games, but GWS had enough of the footy to turn this game into a win. It does show if you can get them overusing the ball, you've got a chance. Then probably the tie of the round, Richmond getting the job done against Gold Coast. The curse is broken and Richmond did the unthinkable. They beat the Red Hot Suns at Marvel Stadium. After copping flack, being Marvel-phobic dimmer, it did prove it. They pulled off a stunning throwback performance, grit, fire, and a hint of chaos. It wasn't without a scare, though. The Suns came home hard, 5 unanswered goals, nearly turning the difference in the 43, but very strong from the Tigers. Tigers, turnover kings, led by Vlosten. They made it hard. 15 intercept possessions from him. Despite losing the inside 50 count at times, they made it hard and made Gold Coast kick to their strengths. Grit versus polish. Anderson, Rao and Miller got plenty of the football, but Richmond made it hard. They made it very, very difficult to use the ball well. And that third quarter, Maurice Rioli was the big guy there. Big shove, big goal. Massive separation when they won the ball. It was complete chaos. They really dominated that third quarter after a tough second. The key performers in this one, Tim Taranto, Nick Vlosten, Jacob Hopper, Seth Campbell was brilliant, and Maurice Rioli was the spark plug. For Gold Coast, Tuck Miller, Matt Rao, Noah Anderson, they were strong. Ben Long had his moments, and the way that they targeted McAndrew was very important. He lost his head in this game. Composure is key. Key movements, that big Rioli sparked that 6-goal third quarter. Fiery shove on Sam Collins. Big energy changer goal. Jonty Fowl getting his first goal. Felt like he was selfless at times. Worked hard. And the final term wobble will concern them, but you expect that from a young building side. But ultimately saw the game out. Big takeaways from this game. Broke a 12-goal game losing streak at Marvel. Richmond did. Their midfield and intercept game is so strong. And a kid showing a bit of spark with the grit from the older guys. Definitely need to learn a bit of composure, but that will come. Big win. Just culture win. This was about heart. Massive belief for Adam Uze here. And Gold Coast, well, positives, they kept fighting. They never gave up. Again, a lot of the ball, but not much. And Long was a spark throughout. But inefficiency, they couldn't isolate Ben King, and they were incredibly reactive in the third. After all that pressure in the second for no reward, they really bottled that third. First loss, not a crisis, but a warning shot, I think. It's going to be an interesting one, this one, moving forward, because the questions will still continue. Can they do it away from home? Port Adelaide versus Swans. Port getting a big, big, big win here. 2 in a row. The Power did this the hard way, but they came through. They got the early lead, but then again, nervy in the fourth quarter, and the Swans had opportunities to walk away with a win here. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't comfortable, but they showed some grit. The Swans kicking 5-8 in the final term, completely inefficient. Should have won, right? Hayden McLean was woeful in the fourth quarter, but ultimately they did it. And Port front running and counter punching. They really do come out of the blocks fast, and it allows them to do it. It allows them to get an edge and control the game. It is going to be very hard to win games continuously like this because there is teams that won't be completely wasteful. We saw it last week with the Hawks. They had their opportunities to really make that nervy. The midfield, Butters, huge difference. He's a human wrecking ball, allowing Horn Francis and Rosie to chip in when they need. And Drew, I thought, is a very, very solid defensive threat. Sydney's misses. How do you miss so many chances? They butchered it. And this is it. The Sydney aren't playing great football at the minute. You have to take your chances. Key performers here, Butters and Rosie, world class. Rioli's in his career best form. And you know what? I really like Jace Burgoyne, solid under fire. Sydney, Aaron Francis nearly stole it. He was a point of difference when he came on. James Rowbottom and Matt Roberts were fantastic. So was Nick Blakey. But again, Hayden McLean, 2 goals for. Could have won them the game. Key moments, Ollie Wines, bless him. It was a scary moment, handled it well, but they managed to fix it structurally. They adapted very quick. We hope Ollie Wines is back out there because he's an incredible, incredible footballer. Aaron Francis, super sub. You don't often see a key defender come on and play key forward and kick goals. Willie Rioli, I thought he was just big moment player. He's having quite the season and not talked about enough. And McLean, you can't miss them. You can't miss them. Takeaways, back-to-back wins for Port. Gritty under pressure. Butty and Rosie are stars. And defence held up. Wines, let's hope he's well, though. We don't want to see that in football. We really, really hope he's okay. Their flag window may be closing at Port and we're waiting for the car. But this win showed that they do have the tools to beat you. Can they grind it out through 4 quarters? It can't be just so vibey, is what it feels like. It feels like they play on emotion. Sydney, they never gave up, but again, wasteful. They've got the talent, but it just doesn't work. They're a teasing side, loads of talent, but it's not clicking. They definitely need to kick that forward half, kick them goals. They have to take their opportunities because at the minute, it feels like they're dining out on pure talent. Game 8 then, Doggies versus Saints. The Dogs were barking loud under the roof, 71-point flogging, and they lost superstar Sam Darcy to what was a knee injury, so they will see him later. But this was an absolute, from start to finish, they lit the fire and they were unstoppable. 7 unanswered goals. The Saints, they faded faster than a soft drink in the summer. A real concern here. The Dogs' centre square was absolutely dominant. They jumped them early and they couldn't get it back. Bont, Libber, Sanders, Kennedy, they controlled this game. And now they're getting players back, Doggies. They are a real threat. I was very impressed with the structure without Darcy as well. Once they lost him, Norton became more of a central target. In the small brigade, Williams, McNeil, they got to work at ground level, showing that they've got the intelligence to do this. St Kilda, the repeating problems. They have patches, 15-minute patches, 4 goals in the first 50 minutes, but then 1 goal in the next 2 full quarters. It's either brilliant or poor, and at the minute, their ability to control games when they lose the contested battle, it's game over. Although they are adapting and they are trying to play a new system, I feel like they are in the same boat as a lot of teams, Melbourne, Carlton, etc. If they're not on, they are exposed because their plan B seems to be come up with a plan A. Marcus Bontempelli, one of the key performers, returned 2 goals. He's back. Aaron Norton, very strong. He plays well as that solo target. And Liberatore, that rundown tackle, probably the best thing we will ever see on Brad Hill. Mitch Owens was strong. I really enjoyed his game, and so was Jack Higgins. I thought Sinclair and Callum Wilkie fought, but they were overwhelmed from some of their senior players. This is going to be interesting to watch what they do. I feel like Ross has to make a statement at the selection table this week. Key moments, Dogs' ability to run and stun, and Sam Darcy's injury. There was fears of an ACL. Luckily, it wasn't, but their ability to change was very case in point. And Libber's chase and goal, pure vintage. Liberatore is a special human being. Their takeaway for the Dogs, massive win. Bontempelli's return, instant impact. Depth of their forward line really showed promise. The Sam Darcy injury is a knock and still patchy at times, but they do be able to control the midfield. Now Bont looks like he's firing, that midfield's humming. They have bite. I feel like they can handle the Darcy injury coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And if they get him back at finals, they could be a problem. St Kilda, again, have moments. Owens and Higgins give glimpses, but faded after quarter 1. And once the midfield started to bleed, no plan B under siege. Same story, different week. They start the game, they are structured, but once you get through what they do, you have big questions to answer. And some of them players do look unfit, like Jack Steele. Finally, the game of the round, Geelong versus Hawthorn. Sean Manor, he started this game, and Geelong just are ruthlessly efficient. It was a real strong game. This game could have gone either way. And again, they find ways to do it and win this Easter Monday epic. Geelong led all day. Hawks kept chipping away at it, but it was the Cats who walked away with the chocolates in a fixture that the Geelong now are 12-3 since the Kennett curse. Geelong's fast starts, the tactical insights here. They kick the first goal in every quarter. They apply that pressure. The ball movement in the first 10 minutes of each of the quarters as well changes so dramatically with how the opposition play. They're a real versatile side. Bailey Smith, he's at his best we've ever seen. 630 metres gained, and he was a complete pain in the bum. Threw a sherring, jamming in his head. Caught booze all afternoon, and he's the pantomime villain, and he's turning into quite the player. Hawks, again, that forward line. They all missed gettable goals. Moore did, Chol did. It's wasteful at times, but they get it in the mixer. Let's go through some of the best players in this game. Sean Manor, he is an absolute storytale thing, isn't he? He was strong, booting the goals. Bailey Smith, Patrick Dangerfield was solid. And Ollie Dempsey, for me, might be one of the most underrated players in the competition. Cho had a big final quarter, tried to get it, and so did Gunston, but Gunston missed some sitters, and so did James Sicily. One of the worst performances from Sicily in this game. Key moments, Manners' final 3 minutes and his opening 3 minutes. Tight game. Huge, huge, huge. Cameron's bicycle kick could have been goal of the year. Absolutely brilliant. Sicily, 2 out of on bounds on the full. Could have won the game. You don't expect that from your captain when it matters most. But Danger at the other end, showing he's still got it. He's filthy. He's filthy. That's 14 goals now in 6 games. Dangerfield's in career best form. So let's look at the takeaways. Geelong. Depth. Players can hurt you all over the ground, whether it's Dempsey, whether it's Atkin, whether it's Manor. They find a way. Dangerfield, now he's at forward. He is a pain in the bum. And Smith is a real nightmare. The concussion from the big Connor Nash hit, though, Mears, he's going to be missing, and so will Nash. Disgusting to see. You don't want to see it. Big, big hit. Big game, though. Big crowd. And as always, the Cats find a way. It's what they do. It's becoming monotonous. Hawthorn, positives. They played their game style against one of the best sides. Chol, Gunston and Watson all can hit the scoreboard, but it's them taking them opportunities, missing crucial chances, not finishing your work. And James Sicily had a bad game. No one could really grab the game by the stuff of the neck. It's bold, it's brash, it's beautiful, but they are building something special. They've got to be ruthless, though, and at times, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks, they let sides in and they put way too much work on it. Geelong were cleaner, were calmer, and ultimately won this game. There we have it. There's the clash of all games in round 6. All had a bit of a PommyInOz flavour there. Who do you think was the best side in round 6? Let me know in the comments. Please smash that like button, subscribe, flick me a follow, because we do cover so much here in the AFL and we work really hard. I'll catch you next time. Can't wait to see you a bit later on. Pommy out.